Yeah.
right? I almost want to take it like that far sometimes just to get them to like, yeah, I'd rather just invest to have work with someone that's done it before.
A reframe like that isn't bad. I would say most of the time, if you've been in sales for at least like 3 to 6 months, you can probably guess what that question that comes to mind. Where you're like, wow, I really want to ask that. Just ask the damn question, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it'll probably benefit you, and you'll probably not. It'll probably benefit you from not getting an objection near the end of the call. Because if it's something that's coming up in your mind, it's probably because you're like, that's probably going to come back to fucking bite me. So you
Mm,
should probably deal with it right away. Um,
Okay.
that's what I would recommend. If it comes up in your mind, do it. Just make sure you ask it in a way that doesn't completely throw the prospect off, or they're like, okay, he's trying to sell me something. So you just have to frame it properly. It's impossible for me to give you the know-how of how to do that, because
yeah.
it's contextual of the actual situation.
Yeah, that makes
But
sense.
yeah, that's what I would say about that. Yeah. So it's intuition at the end of the day, but genuinely, if it comes up in your mind where you see it like, okay, this way that they've been making decisions could be a problem, or the way that they're thinking, or the way that they've gone through past programs and their past experience may be a problem at the bottom of the call, do your best to pre-handle that before it comes to the bottom, because it will benefit you in the long run
Yeah.
to, one, keep the call shorter, but two, you can probably sell a higher package, because your pitch is going to be thoroughly suited for them if you understand their past fears, what they've done, why those didn't work as well. So
Yeah, that's a good
yeah,
way of putting it because when you're investigating their actions, like if it's coming up, if it's someone that's used to invest in themselves, it's not necessary, it's just going to backfire on you. But if it's someone that's has never done it, frame it that way for them to see, like, because you got to reframe them to think of like
yeah,
how it's actually going to benefit them to invest,
yeah. And
right?
I would say it's never. See, when people, I think a lot of people, they'll see one of my calls or one of my discoveries, and I don't exactly follow the structure to a like a T all the time. Sometimes one part gets moved up just because in the conversation it just worked to have it in that place,
Hmm.
right? Um, Outline the dream and risk of the future, most of the time those stay in the same place, because there's just contextual information I need. But sometimes I'll move an outline the dream question into reveal the root, to first future pace them, and then after I future pace them and figure out what the actual gap is, now I can figure out why they haven't been able to get there, right?
Hmm.
So you can mix and match different pieces based on the information you need. Just don't be a robot, right? So you don't have to straight down the whole entire process. But when it comes to it, with what Greg is saying, and investigate actions. If you notice that there's something there, you're fine to use it there, even though it's early in the call, it's in the beginning. You want to flesh that stuff out as early as possible so you can get to the core of things. You can get to the root of their problems, what they actually want to achieve, and what happens if they don't achieve that. It's going to be a lot easier to do it. That's how you really do collapse your call time. You have to be you have to be flexible in your process, not very strict in every single thing you do. Be strict with the answers you receive. Don't be strict in kind of the process that you follow, if that makes sense. But yeah, I hope that made sense. Does that make sense in terms of be strict? I want to make sure that makes sense. I don't want to confuse anybody. Does that make
It
sense to everybody or
does.
no? Okay.
It
I was just,
does,
I
but
was,
it's opened it up a little bit that okay, I'm just trying to follow the structure at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I like mirror.
That, that's and that's working. Yeah.
Be able
Yeah,
to
I mean,
spell that.
it's good to follow the structure. If you follow the structure, you'll be okay. I'm just saying, like, at the end of the day, you have to be flexible, because sometimes the prospect,
Yeah.
they will not give an answer that works for that specific phase, and then you're like, okay.
Real quick before you go, if anything I just said hit, you'll like what I'm about to tell you. There's a public leaderboard live right now where closers are racing to double their cash collected in 14 days. They get real trophies. Public ranks a $1,000 cash prize every month for the closer at the top. The math is simple. Take your last 14 days of cash collected and beat it. Closer doubling from 5K a cash collected in the last 14 days to 10K. It's the same tier as a closer doubling from 50K to 100K. So you get the same trophy, the same recognition, and you're never in the wrong weight class because it's based off of your ability to grow. So it's free to join, it's free to learn, and it's free to start growing today. The link is in the description. Click join, and I will see you on the board.